acres and acres of elkhorn coral. And all the reefs here in the Florida Keys that have names on them, and a lot of the reefs that don't have names, had huge patches of elkhorn coral. They'd come right to the surface. You usually couldn't swim over the top of them. Sometimes at real low tides they would even come out of the water, and they were all over the place. And then the staghorn thickets were in front of the reef, they were behind the reef, they were in patch reefs all over the place. And again, acres and acres of staghorn coral that sometimes grow several feet off the bottom, and fish swim all through there. It was really cool. And I fortunately started diving in.
This is the CBS Evening News with Jeff Glor.
And good evening.
Marine scientist Megan Johnson is fighting a battle few ever see. She's slowly bringing Florida's coral reefs back to life. 30 feet below the surface, Johnson showed me row after row of coral alive and growing after decades of being battered by disease and warmer water.
This is like a mini coral city. It really is amazing.
Amazing because all of it was planted here by scientists.
These are actually fragments that started off about this size that were brought into the nursery and have grown. They started out a couple of inches. 3 years later, this is what it looks like.
No, we've never done it.
It all started in Ken Niedermeyer's backyard in the Florida Keys. His daughter needed a 4-H project, so they decided to try growing coral.
If I'd read any books, I think I probably wouldn't have started, because everybody would have said, no, you can't do that. That won't work.
Their technique worked so well, researchers adopted it. And 9 years later, it has spawned this, the largest man-made nursery project, with 5,000 coral colonies growing underwater from Fort Lauderdale to the Virgin Islands. Scientists clip new coral just like pruning a tree, then plant it with a special underwater glue. When it's big enough, it's moved to a reef to replace dead or dying coral.
It's just amazing what happens. A lot more habitat for fish, for juvenile fish, for large fish, for invertebrates.
Acropora coral is a genus of the Scleractinian family of coral. Acropora coral can either grow as plates or as slender or broad branches. Of the 149 Acropora species, staghorn and elkhorn are the most prominent in the Florida Keys. These corals serve as keystone species, and their abundance and genetic diversity is paramount to the well-being of Florida's marine ecosystem. Unfortunately, there has been a massive die-off of this vital coral.
The reasons behind the die-off of Acropora coral in the Florida Keys are many and complicated. It all started in February 1977, which was an unusually cold winter in the Keys. The cold snap of 1977 caused a great deal of damage to the Acropora coral in the Keys, and by the summer of 1977, the situation had worsened. That June, the first case of white band disease was reported. White band disease is caused by an opportunistic bacteria that can kill a branch of coral at a rate of 1 inch every 4 hours. By the early 80s, 97% of the staghorn coral in the Florida Keys had died. Unfortunately, things just got worse from there. In 1983, there was a major die-off of the black sea urchin, which shared a symbiotic relationship with the coral. Without the sea urchin to control algae growth, free-swimming coral polyps were unable to settle on rocks because of the abundance of algae. Other factors, including higher water temperatures and untreated sewage, have exacerbated this problem. These major bleaching events have not only devastated the abundance of the Acropora corals, but have also caused a decrease in the genetic diversity of coral population.
With all of the trauma inflicted on these coral populations, it would be almost impossible for the coral to make a full recovery independent of human intervention. Fortunately, organizations such as the Coral Reef Restoration Foundation, or CRF, are providing hope in the otherwise murky waters of the coral's future. Ken Niedermeyer founded the CRF as a part of his daughter's 4-H project. But over the years, the CRF has evolved into something much greater. Niedermeyer has developed a coral reef nursery off of the coast of Key Largo, where he grows budding Acropora polyps that will later be transplanted to the reefs. Niedermeyer has experimented with countless methods of growing coral and has found line nurseries to be the most efficient. The majority of Niedermeyer's coral is grown on lines, which allows the coral to branch in every direction. Once the coral has grown to an acceptable size, Niedermeyer and his team of volunteers transplant it to nearby reefs. The hope is to introduce self-sufficient, genetically diverse colonies of elkhorn and staghorn coral into the Keys.
The unusually cold weather of 2009 also demonstrated the importance of line nurseries and accurate genotyping. Most of the corals at the lower levels of the line nurseries died due to a thermocline or a significant drop in water temperature as elevation changes. The genotypes that survived were proven to be more tolerant of temperature changes. Genotyping is very beneficial, but is a very laborious and expensive task. The genotyping is provided by local universities and laboratories. However, the manual labor of creating the tags and the recordation is a task left to volunteers. However, this is a very arduous task for such a small group of people to tackle. There are many ways to get involved in this cause. If you have a diving certification, the CRF would love to see you this summer in Key Largo. All the divers in this movie were volunteers, and you too could be working with them. Other ways to get involved include making donations to the Coral Reef Restoration Foundation, and adopting coral in your name, or simply educating others towards this cause. With every bit of increased public support for this cause, a reality in which we have healthy reefs becomes ever more tangible.